Welcome back to the Shacknews Awards. We're almost done. I don't know when this is actually going to drop, though, so it may be like week one of the awards in real life, but I can tell you we are almost done, and it's an amazing feeling. But before we go, we have a very special category that we saved for today. It's the Pop Goes the Culture presents the best adaptation of the year 2024. Now, if you don't know what Pop Goes the Culture is, it's our very popular live stream show on twitch.tv/Shacknews, hosted by Donovan Erskine and Greg Burke. So we thought, why not brand this award? And I think the third year that you guys have been doing this. And
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's becoming easier each year with the industry really moving towards adaptations in a big way. And I think Hollywood kind of running out of comic books to make movies out of. So now they're turning to video games. Let's get to the nominees, and then we'll talk about why they're also great, and then we'll vote, and then we'll declare a winner, and then maybe we'll even have time to eat dinner.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Fallout on Amazon. Or was it just Prime Video? Yeah.
Amazon Prime Video.
Sure. I'll allow it. Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. That's on Netflix. Secret Level, also on Prime Video. Like a Dragon Yakuza, also on Prime Video. And last but not least, Arcane Season 2 on Netflix. So, Bill and Greg, you guys are like our two biggest Fallout fans, I think, here. Do you want to talk about the show? You want to start? Who wants to start? Greg or Bill?
I can start.
You go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, fantastic show. Everything that made Fallout without going too over the top or too out there, while still staying grounded. Amazon does great productions in general. The production design for this is stellar. The writing is stellar. The story is great. It answers the age-old question of who started the war, because for decades we didn't know who started the nuclear war, and we know now who started the nuclear war. No spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but yeah. So I mean, it's canon. Todd Howard was heavily involved in it in the creative process. Awesome cast, great cast. It put a bunch of people on the map, a bunch of people who they've been acting for decades, but this is the thing that made them household names. I would argue. And everything is just done phenomenally well. I've watched that show. I put it on in the background when I do stuff. The music's great. Everything about it. I love I don't have a single criticism. I love everything about it. Everything is great. It's a perfect show. The perfect video game adaptation.
And I'm just going to throw it out here. If anyone watches Pop Goes the Culture, Greg saying this is rare.
That's huge.
No offense, Greg. I'm just saying you have a discerning eye. So when you say something like that, I take notice. Bill, I don't know. You want to chime in a little bit? I know you really like this show, but you're also just like Fallout 4 is like one of your favorite games of all time, right?
Yeah, it is. And in the spirit of adaptations, I think the fact that they were able to take this video game and adapt it to television in a way that intrigued people so much that they then turned around and started playing the video games, like whether it's Fallout 76 or Fallout 4. I think that one of the things we have to look at, and I know we did this last year, is the effect that the show has on the brand as a whole. It's not just a great show. It renewed interest in Fallout.
Because that's kind of the point of these adaptations by the video game industry, at least, is to drum up interest from people who don't know their franchises, and then maybe they'll try out something. We labeled it the Mario movie effect last year, but it's like the Fallout effect this year, or the Arcane effect, or the Castlevania effect. Like, we're gonna continue to see this happen, I think.
And you're trying to introduce people who maybe didn't know about the video games to those video games through a medium that they actually do engage with. And obviously, like, pretty much everybody has Prime at this point, so they can watch the show there, and it helps to sort of bridge that gap. And we saw it ourselves. Like, we saw an uptick in all of the content that we do that's related to Fallout over the course of the year. And I agree with everything Greg said about the show. I thought the show did a really good job of telling its own story and not being gimmicky. Like he said, it was grounded. But one of the examples is that, like, you felt like you were watching Fallout, but it was like, it wasn't just a 1-to-1. It was something new. It was something interesting. And I thought even the fact they built actual power armor that they could walk around in and did, I thought that was pretty cool. The whole cast was amazing. And like Greg said, like I had not really, they weren't household names to me for the most part. A couple of them were, but like it put these people on the map in a big way, in a way that they weren't before. So I think it was a fantastic adaptation, and it accomplished all the goals that an adaptation has.
Yeah, I also just want to chime in real quick and be like, it's not just that they handled the post-apocalyptic setting correctly. They handled each of the three major time periods correctly. The pre-war world, the world of living in a bunker and surviving in one of the shelters, and then the post-apocalyptic one year out in the wasteland exploring. Each of those felt extremely true to the source material. Fantastic.
Nice. Does anyone else want to chime in? Seems like we're giving Fallout a lot of flowers here, as well deserved.
Oh, like just to say, one of my group friends, Chris, the Ghostbusters community do prop building, and one of his friends worked on the power armor that was on the show. It was a team effort, but they worked on one of the several casings they made. There's a hero ones and the close-up ones and the wide ones, so that's kind of cool too.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say the production value is on point for the show in general. I feel like that's something that should be appreciated since there's the big push for use of AI artistry and everything else going on. But I appreciate physical props and things that are actually used on set.
And funny as well. I will say there was some humor in it, which is good, and not just like, what you see in sort of superhero movies these days.
No, the franchise lends itself to humor too. Like the Vault Boy videos and stuff. Like there's this like
a tone. Yeah, there's a tone.
Yeah. It has a vibe, and I think that's the most, like, kind of to Bill's point, like they nailed that vibe. Like they created a new story, but it feels like a Fallout. Like it doesn't feel like you're watching some story that was kind of forced into the Fallout franchise. It's like, no, this is like a story within that universe. No, I think that's not easy to do. And yeah, Prime's had some really good production value on a lot of their stuff. So yeah,
it spared no expense.
Next up we have Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. I have not watched this on Netflix, but visually it's pretty impressive.
This is one that I believe Ozzy was big into, but he's not here at the moment. I watched a little bit of it. The animation was great. I thought it looked really cool. They cast Haley Atwell to play Lara Croft, which she's done a lot of like action stuff in person. She's been in she was in the last Mission Impossible. Has been in a couple of MCU movies, so cool to see her play Lara Croft, even if it was just VO. I thought she was very good in that role. It's like, standard Lara Croft, going through dungeons and pyramids and whatnot. But I thought it was like a fun like adventure series.
It's not an origin story like so many of the movies have been, right? Like this is just like she's already the Tomb Raider.
No, yeah.
That's cool.
Ready herself, yeah.
I think there's times where like they've tried to do the origin story too many times, even in games.
Yeah.
But yeah, the animated series that we see on Netflix, like coming out of the video game scene, have all been visually really impressive. Like I really like the art style in Castlevania too. And I don't know what studio made this versus that, but the quality of their animation over there at Netflix has been pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this show was done by Red Dog Animation, and they had Crystal Dynamics in the room as a producer on the show. So, yeah,
I think that's key, and I think that's key with Fallout too. Like having Todd there as just a consultant, right? Like Todd's not doing anything, writing the story or anything, but he's like, hey, this would make sense, or hey, someone to bounce that off of. I think is super important, and Nintendo's definitely put Miyamoto in that role. But like, I think to get a really good adaptation, you need a collaboration from a production team and the studio to really nail things. And then there's secret level. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say like that's a big deal for a lot of folks. I know that a lot of projects, even outside of just the video game space, are inspired for some of those areas. Like I know like the showrunner for Westworld was inspired by stuff like BioShock and Fallout. So it works both ways in that way when they have that kind of back and forth happening. It definitely pays off in these kind of spaces.
Yeah. And like I said, and then there's secret level. This is an interesting concept. Like, I don't want to crap on the whole thing because it's very much I would say episode by episode or short by short kind of thing. Like, I like some of them and I dislike other ones. The idea here is
it's the nature of anthologies that they're always going to be hit or miss, right? I mean, this was done by the same studio behind, I think it's Love, Death, and Robots, which multiple seasons in, it's a similar deal, right? Where some episodes you're like, oh, that's like a brilliant piece of filmmaking, and the other one you're like, what did I just watch for 5 minutes? So yeah.
I'll say, like, I really enjoyed the Unreal Tournament short, and I would watch origin stories for all the characters from Unreal. If that's what they want to do, I would watch. If that's what we're gonna get out of it, I would watch them all. But I think they did a really good job with picking Zan for that. Like having this like the undertone of that story, I think is really cool. And it's actually told a story, which I think is like kind of hard to do in a short, especially with video game material.
Yeah.
And then there's Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Bandai Namco told them to make it weird.
That's not just weird, though, man. That's not just weird.
Beloved lore.
Not a fan of weird Bandai Namco?
No, look, David, have you watched this Pac-Man short?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay.
I've seen it.
It's god awful.
I did indeed watch as well.
I paused it 15 times. It's only 12 minutes long. I paused it 15 times, and I'm like, how much longer do I have to watch this? Like, I kept looking at the time, and I'm like, what am I? I was like, I had like an existential crisis while watching it. I'm like, what am I doing with my life that I'm watching this right now? It's bad. It's Apple Maps bad.
Donovan's smiling. Donovan, what do you think of this short?
I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. I just think it was just super weird and bizarre. I mean, I knew going in because that when the embargo came up, that's what everybody was saying was like the Pac-Man episode is so fucking bizarre. And I saw the like quotes of like when they reached out to Bandai, they were like, "Please make this as like kooky and crazy as possible." They did. It's very strange. But you know,
you could have told me that was about Destiny, and I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, it felt like I was like, oh yeah, this is the Destiny universe. Like, because Pac-Man, I don't want to. Is it even possible to spoil such a thing? Anyway, I guess my point is that it's hit or miss. And
I want to shout out the Sifu episode was really good. That episode is so good.
That was strong.
Great.
Yeah.
The way that they use like the game mechanics and mythos in that short, I thought were brilliant. I love the Sifu episode. Secret level.
No, I think there's, like you said, hits and misses. I don't think the whole thing's out on Prime yet. So like, I wasn't able to watch the Mega Man one, which I was looking forward to seeing. I didn't catch the Armored Core one, but I heard that Keanu did a good job in it. But yeah, it's I think it's an interesting idea. I want them to keep doing it, but just like not the Pac-Man vibe. Yeah. No, anything.
I saw the Concord episode too.
Oh, good for you! Yep. Look at you! Look at you! You reviewed Concord. He's one of the few people on Earth who has played Concord and watched the Concord short on Secret Level.
That was the first episode I watched when they sent over the show. I was like, well, let's see what this is all about.
You were just dying. He was like, I gotta get my hands on more Concord.
I had to know. It's rare that you get a situation like that, so I had to see what's going on.
I do like the concept though. Like, I want to see them keep going with it with other.
Absolutely. You know, I don't want to dog it at like on the whole because I think it's very cool. And I like to see video game companies allow people to explore their IP like this. Like, that's cool. But some were misses. And I'm sure there'll be more. But, like, what would they do with Tetris? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I bet they were sitting there like, what do we do with Pac-Man? Like, that's probably how that conversation went.
Right? But then they're like, cannibalistic line pieces, and I don't know. It's just weird. Just weird things happen in that. But yeah, check it out. If you have Prime, it's there. If you've already watched Invincible, and I don't know what else is on Prime. Fallout.
Wheel of Time, baby. Wheel of Time, season 3, March 13th.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of
Wheel of Time.
There's a lot of great stuff on Prime.
Someone's had that date ready. Okay.
Yeah, David's like it's tattooed on my wrist. No, nice. Anyone else want to chime in on Secret Levels? Anyone else? Any takes? I agree with Denny. Like, I hope they keep doing it because it is interesting.
To your point, Asif, they only did release half because I was looking forward to the Mega Man episode as well, and that's in the back half apparently. So,
did you guys get to watch it with the review stuff, Donovan? Like, did you get to see Mega Man?
I haven't seen that episode. I'm not sure if they gave us that one or not. I'd have to look back, but I haven't seen it. No.
I'm really interested in that because, like,
me too.
I actually like the Mega Man story. It's actually interesting. And I think
nice to see Mega Man getting some of that kind of attention again.
That he even exists. That he even exists
right
That's
now.
great. Yeah. Remember Mega Man? Steve does.
Yes.
Probably shaking his fist at him at times. But yeah. Cool. Yeah, we should move on. Another Amazon Prime Video series, Like a Dragon Yakuza. They took a wacky game and like made a serious drama out of it. But here we are.
This is one of those that came out of nowhere, right? Because Fallout came out in like the spring, early summer window, like did really well. And then 2 weeks later, they were like, also, by the way, we have a Yakuza show coming out in October. It was like 3 months of lead time and kind of came out of nowhere. But performances in it all looked great. I think, again, something that we talked about with Fallout is that the shows just have such a sense of authenticity to them, mainly because they are shot on location and they use practical effects. Obviously, Like a Dragon, not as demanding as like a Fallout as far as universe goes, but there's a clear dedication to making these universes feel like real and lived in, which came through in that show, although it didn't have the same like cultural footprint as like a Fallout did.
No, but I do think that this is a franchise that's still ascending. Like, I think we're seeing it with Infinite Wealth and like now we're going pirate Yakuza in Hawaii and stuff, but like I think we're witnessing, and I think Kiwami released on Switch this year. Like, there's just more people out there that can still discover this IP. So this adaptation makes a lot of sense. Although, if you think that you're gonna get this in Like a Dragon game, probably not. It's a lot goofier, which I think is a good thing. It makes those games fun. But yeah, I don't know. Anyone else want to chime in on Like a Dragon? Do we know like which of these shows have gotten picked up for season 2 yet or not? Like Fallout's coming back, right?
Fallout's already confirmed coming back. No word on Secret Level, I don't believe. Not sure about Yakuza. Our next one, Arcane, is done. This is the last season of that show.
What about Tomb Raider? Is that coming back?
Tomb Raider, I'm not sure either. The jury.
I know we got more. We got more Castlevania coming though, so I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. Yeah, we mentioned Arcane. Riot Games, League of Legends universe, Arcane season 2. So this was the end of the series?
This was the second and final season of Arcane, and people were not happy when they announced that because we knew the season 2 was coming. It's been a few years at this point since season 1. I think that was 2021 when they finally like dropped the trailer for season 2. They were like the final season. People kind of lost their minds. I think rightfully so because that first season was like transcendent. It was so brilliant that it just felt like a show that was destined to run for 7-8 seasons. And then it kind of just gets cut off at the end, which seems to be the only criticism people have of season 2 is that they wish that it just ran longer. But I don't know. It's kind of a miracle of an adaptation because first and foremost, it made people want to go play League of Legends, which has got to be just a Herculean task in the year 2024.
The Arcane effect, man. It's the Arcane effect.
That of all games that the people are like, wait, I kind of want to play League. But no, it's an origin story for Jinx and Vi, who are two the champions you can play in League. A couple of popular characters there. But it's funny, we talked earlier about how adaptations can just be so dull and uninteresting. But they managed to give these characters who were previously shallow and just devoid of really any character outside of what they did on Summoner's Rift so much like depth and emotion and history. A lot of it through performance. We talked about Ola Purnell earlier in Fallout. She's also in Arcane. She plays Jinx, the main character. Haley Steinfeld is Vi. They are so good in this show. They're given like as good of a performance you can in a VO booth in this show. The animation is brilliant. You can tell why there were 3 years between seasons 1 and 2 because I almost compare it to like the Spider-Verse movies where you can just like close your eyes and pause at any point in the episode and the frame is just like wallpaper worthy, stunning piece of art that probably took an entire team of people a week to assemble. So watching it in motion is just wildly impressive. I thought that Arcane was a brilliant show, and I hope that they do more. I know Riot's been like trying to diversify and get their IP into other mediums, so I think there will be other like League shows. I believe the story of Arcane is done, but I think they will try to cover some.
Yeah,
other
they can
stuff.
just pick another hero or two, right?
They
like
could. There's like
it could just
170
be,
characters.
you know what I mean? So like this,
I'm sure they gotta be thinking about it. Yeah.
This is honestly, maybe this is a Shack chat. Like, which characters should be the next League of Legends show, or the next League show should like revolve around? Because you're right, it doesn't sit well with fans when you have something that's so popular and so wildly successful, and you're like, yeah, only 2 seasons of it. Yeah, and it's not. It did really well. Like, it's super popular.
Yeah, I mean, deeply beloved, like 100% aggregate Rotten Tomato score. It is a very well-regarded TV show, and of course, you know, there's something to be said about ending at the right time when the story's over. But it did feel like the show could have had maybe one or 2 more seasons in it. But
I mean, I'd rather things end, you know, on the peak than end up, you know, running for 30 seasons like Supernatural or something. Like it depends. When you also got like situations too where like animation and this kind of stuff takes time. So like just to start up and be ready to roll in 2021 and then taking that like 3-year period between seasons basically and having high quality be a point instead of rushing something out because it was, you know, successful. Like it's hard to balance, but it also is like, you know, it might set up the next series for success of a different character just because they ended it before it went downhill or something.
This isn't a video game show, but it's I think a very popular stream show, and it was huge on Netflix while it was there. I thought The Office overstayed its welcome by like 2 seasons. And it got like, I don't know, we talked about it, David, like, but like I agree. I'd rather a show go out on top like Breaking Bad did or something than
Jump the
start
shark.
Yeah.
Like, oh. I was like, can I get like a shout out to like, you know, Ella Purnell? She got 2 nominations basically in here right now because she's doing the voiceover and she's in Fallout. So
crushed it. She's crushing it this year.
Putting in work.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and I think it's cool though, because it's not like Fallout didn't have some like superstar to carry. Like, yeah, like we're seeing Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, with Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba and stuff in it. But like doing a show like Fallout, not having to go crazy with breaking the budget on the talent. Yeah, but yeah, she had an amazing year, and I'm sure this is just the beginning of more awesome opportunities for her.
Cool. Like the one thing I feel like is, you know, when it comes to adaptations like this is that since they have the video game fan base, you can also kind of somewhat create stars with just that being a thing when you're playing a key character and that kind of stuff in a role. And I think some of the talent sees that, and so they're latching on to those things more now just for the opportunity.
Yeah, like imagine Chris Pratt's career without the Mario role. Oh wait, that's a really bad example.
That's a bad example.
I was like,
Anyway, I'm gonna overrule myself there. Sorry. Anyway, we should vote. What do you guys say? You guys want to vote?
Sounds good.
I'm gonna start with Ozzy, who's not here. Ozzy is voting for Fallout. So on my spreadsheet, Sam, you're next. So Sam.
Yep. Fallout. Thank you.
Steve.
Fallout. I will go with Fallout.
David.
Fallout.
Donovan.
I'll toss a vote to Arcane.
Denny.
And I'll show some other Arcane too.
Greg.
Fallout.
TJ.
I'm going with Fallout.
Bill. Should I even ask you?
You don't even need to, you know. Fallout.
Fallout?
I'll officially say Fallout, but you know.
Yeah, I there's no I think it's pretty obvious to the folks at home. I enjoyed Fallout. Out of all these, I think it was the one where I was like, damn. And I'm not like super into the games. But I thought it was just like, even if I thought it was interesting because my brother has never played a Fallout game. And he called me up. He's like, have you seen this Fallout show? It's like really good. I'm like, yes, I have. And it was funny hearing that from someone who's not a gamer, like, or who has not played that game specifically, right?
Nicole said the same thing. She'd never play a Fallout game and she liked the show.
That's what I think was neat about it, Greg, because that's kind of the point of these, where like it's about that whole blue ocean that Nintendo always talked about, is reaching more people. And I think Fallout did that very well this year. And we saw it. We saw it with this like increased player base for Fallout 76. Saw a ton of people playing Fallout 4 again. Yeah. I think that's it's pretty much a landslide here. But yeah, congratulations to all the nominees. Everyone should check out these shows. If you have Netflix or Prime Video, you can probably try out most of them, or one of your friends probably has these subscriptions. Don't share the passwords, but maybe go to their house or something. Hang out, watch Arcane. How many episodes are in a season of Arcane, Donovan? It's like 10?
Like 8.
8?
Yeah, that's a small amount.
But yeah. So that'll take you like a weekend. Anyway, congratulations to, I don't know who the hell made this. Is it Bethesda, Amazon, Microsoft?
Amazon Prime
Probably
Studios
all of them.
production, basically, I think, is the Amazon Studios, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so congratulations to Amazon Studios and whoever else helped make this thing. Even Greg's friend who helped make the power armor. It's those little things though, man, that really make something cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and yeah, we appreciate that. We appreciate the attention to detail, and we appreciate everyone who's making these adaptations. So the Pop Goes the Culture presents Best Adaptation of the Year 2024 goes to Fallout.
Everyone wants to save the world. They just disagree on how.